we give all the good positive vibes with the Broncos.
Hey, I'm telling you what, Stoke. How about that? How about Bo Nix? I mean, my gosh, they looked. I mean, that's a good. That's the best team in the NFC South. That's the leader of the NFC South. That is Kirk Cousins and an offense that has all kinds of weapons. Top four offensive line in football. Has probably the second best tandem of running backs in football. Got a big time tight end. Got Drake London as a big time wide receiver. I mean, they check every box, and they just got throttled by our defense, throttled by Bo Nix in the offense. Man, that was, oh my gosh, that was so much fun. And Bo Nix continues to just step one step, the next step, the next step, the next step. I mean, it just is unbelievable what he's been able to do.
We hanging pictures in your office over there,
Somebody
Mark?
knocking on your door?
Oh, it's Craig Carton, just being Craig Carton.
Well, tell him that we got a show to do.
Yeah.
He's making fun of me because I got gloves on. I'm in my room here.
No, it was awesome, Mark. Obviously, you starts with Bo, and you look at just the progress he's made from that Seattle game. We talked a lot about the footwork and some of the things, and it looked like the game was moving quick. And the game looks like it has really slowed down for him. Sean Payton, the offensive staff, I thought did a great job of scheming up plays. We saw the play to Mims. We saw the play to Atkins there, the touchdowns, and it's it's been fun to watch his progress, but also defensively, they just can't continue to go out there. And I was a little bit concerned about all the weapons that Atlanta has. It might be a high-scoring football game. They totally shut the Falcons out. Just a very, very impressive game, especially coming off the heels of what we saw against the Chiefs and what happened to them against the Chiefs the week before. So 6-5, Mark, in a great position right now, 7th spot in the playoff race. And everything's just right in front of them.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, everything's right in front of them. They're playing really good football right now. And, the one team I think that everybody was kind of concerned about coming into this thing that could go on a run because of the quarterback Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals dropped one to San Diego, dropped one to the L.A. Chargers last night. And so, now it's finally time to kind of stick a fork in the Bengals. They're done. I just think that's another team you're not going to have to worry about. The Broncos, sitting there at the 7th seed right now, they're kind of in control of what happens to them. So really exciting time to be a Bronco fan. Really exciting time to see what they're doing offensively with Bo Nix. And for all those, the James Merrillat people out there that were all worried about the salary cap and how this is going to affect this and we're not going to be able to build this and we should just keep Russell Wilson so we don't have to mess with the salary cap. You know what? Good for the Denver Broncos, good for Sean Payton, good for the decision makers over there because they made the right choice. Awesome.
So you're 100% confident in saying right now Broncos have their franchise quarterback? Because Stoke and I were talking about this earlier. I'm not trying to be, head up in the clouds here, but is there any reason when you watch this guy play, is there any reason to think that he's going to regress in any way that's noticeable, all the while the areas that he should be able to continue to improve upon?
Yeah, no, I don't see any reason to sit here and think at this point, well, we just don't have – we're not sure or we don't have our guy. I mean, let's face it, they don't run the ball exceptionally well. So they don't do that exceptionally well. They don't have, necessarily – and it's growing like Vele is growing. And so they're becoming more and more of a threat offensively, and their weapons are developing, and I think guys are kind of settling in and figuring out their roles. So those are all good things. But if you put them up against, probably a dozen other teams that have better weapons, that have more quote-unquote talent, I think you have to look at Bo Nix and say, man, this is legit. This opportunity is legit.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's been I don't know. You look at where we were, and like Mike, you mentioned in training camp, and some of this team, this roster ranked 29th, 30th, and the projections 5.5 win total, and where they are right now, been pretty remarkable. What has happened and how they've started the season off 0-2, what they were able to do there, go on the road and win 2 in a row, bounce back from that Kansas City loss in the fashion that it was in. And this is a resilient group. Sean Payton was able to flip it over a little bit this offseason, get more of his guys, and it's been impressive what they've been able to accomplish in the situation that they put themselves in.
Yeah, I look at, and I don't think Sean gets enough credit for this, is just the way that he has flipped the culture here. If you go back to the days of Vance as a head coach, Vic, Hackett, you got to go all the way back to find an adult who coached his team in Gary Kubiak. But since then, has there been any coach that they've had that you would feel confident saying, oh, yeah, they'd be able to bounce out of an 0-2 hole? They can go out on the road and spend a week in West Virginia, be able to handle it just fine, come out and get a win. They can lose 2 in a row at Baltimore and Kansas City, lose the game the way they did at Kansas City, and not even miss a beat and come back and dominate the week later. I just think that, when you look at the overall job that he's doing, you got to look at the culture, you got to look at the identity, and you got to realize that matters. Both, all you guys. Let's bring in Terrell Davis. Terrell Davis joins us now. Monday Mornings with TD, presented by Colorado Credit Union. TD, good morning. And, well, you heard us talking about that. Jump right in. Jump right in on that part of the conversation.
Well, good morning, fellas. Mike, it's really been good to see this team, man. They really have got to a point where, we looked at this team early on and the expectations didn't seem like they were there, but they've grown every week, man. They've just continued to grow. Bo is obviously looking like he's on a really good trajectory to being the quarterback that we drafted 12th overall and the answer for that position. The team, I noticed, watching them too, man, they're playing with a lot of they're playing with excitement now, man. They're you watch the sideline and the way they just bounce around, and it's a team with a lot of they may not have like those stars yet, and those guys are developing before our eyes, but they've got a lot of really good players, and it's kind of fun to watch them now, man. We talked about this offense and looking at it and complaining about you don't see guys running wide open in the early goings, and I watched this game, and those guys running all over the place. And Bo's doing a fantastic job getting the ball to him. Obviously, defense is they come to play every single week, and they set the tone for this team, man. So it's fun, man. I really feel it just feels great to just watch a team every week now and feel like, okay, you got a really good chance of not only winning a game, but as Mike used to say, man, dominating games. And we haven't seen that in a long time, man.
You mentioned the young guys, TD, and guys flying around, guys open now, and they weren't really open in the beginning. And I go back to your rookie year in 1995, and I'll never forget going out to New England and coming out of that game. I think you had 95 yards in that game. It was the first game you had a real chance to crack 100 yards. And we being pissed off and talking to Shanahan about it after the game, kind of like, no, we should get the rookie. That should have been a 100-yard game. At what point in your rookie year did it become to the point where you went from, a guy that's getting his start and a guy that, earned that opportunity, obviously, but then all of a sudden you just kind of exploded toward the second half of the rookie year? What changed for you during that time that maybe you can relate to what's going on here with the Broncos right now?
I don't think for me, Snake, it wasn't that first year. First year I was just trying not to screw things up, man. I was just like, hey, man, just go in the game. Just don't have a lot of missed assignments. Just try to, run as hard as I could. Try not to be the weak link. But then a year or two after, I had a chance to go through an off season and kind of look at the offense. And, we changed the offense a little bit. We went, our first year we were running a whole lot of dives and traps and bobs and stuff like that. And then we started doing more out of the I formation or strong and weak, and gave me a little bit more of a chance to see the field a little better. But then after you start putting together some games, then you start taking ownership of that position, and you realize that, okay, you're now starting to become that player that other people are looking to for energy, for inspiration, whatever it is. And so I just kind of accepted that role. from there, man. So I mean, I don't. It definitely wasn't my first year, I can tell you that. But Bo is, if you're looking at Bo, man, I think he's really come along from day one to where he is now. And whether he's, but everybody wants to know, is he the long-term answer? Until I see differently, the answer is yes. The answer is yes. Until he does something or starts to go down a path that just looks unfamiliar. But right now, man, I think the dude looks like he is well on his way.
Yeah, no question about it. And TD, the running game. I thought we would see more Audric Estime, especially after the week before. Javonte got to start, and I thought he ran the ball well. I mean, he averaged 6.5 carry. He only had 9 carries, but he got the bulk of the carries. How do you think what's the rhyme or reason here with the rotation with the running backs?
I don't know, still, guys. I don't know. Because every week you see you tend to see a different maybe it's a different thinking behind who's back there. Estime, he played a little bit more, not a little bit more, but Javonte, like to your point, we thought the week before that, maybe they were going with Estime a little bit more. Then Javonte starts, and you can tell that. And I think collectively as a team, I think this is what we're going to get from this group. I don't think it's going to be one guy. From what we've seen the first couple of games, I mean, obviously that the trend is that they're doing it by committee. And, you got Estime getting his touches in there. I think he ran the ball 6 times. Jaleel gets in there from time to time, and then Javonte. So they're kind of running it by committee. And they did a solid job yesterday. It was a solid job. So I think, again, I'm going to be more demanding from that group. I still want to see more from it. Nice run by Javonte, making hit a 5-yard line and just great leg drive. And he basically got picked up and dragged.
Carried in.
So, yeah, he got carried in, man. I don't think that's ever happened to me, Stink. I don't think you've ever done that for your boy, man. You've always had
No.
So,
I was just over there watching. I was like, wow, look at TD go. Because I wasn't gonna catch the pile, TD. You know that. I was too crippled up. So
I mean, seriously,
what
guys,
about-
was that even a thing when you guys were playing? It seems like that's kind of a new
no,
phenomenon.
I don't think you could have done that back then. I think that would have been a penalty.
Yeah, there was a penalty for assisting a runner or aiding a runner. I think there still is if you pull a runner across the line of scrimmage or across the goal line, that's considered a penalty. But you can push him, certainly, and that doesn't get called. But
can you carry a man? Can you carry a guy across the end zone? They certainly didn't see that because his feet were off the ground.
Yeah, his feet were off the ground. It was great. Hey, TD, real quick, just about the defensively, the job that Vance Joseph has done with this defense. Can you put that into kind of context for us, what you think is going on there and what you've seen from our defense?
Man, it's a total turnaround from I would say, well, I guess the one outlier game last year was the one everybody points to was the Dolphins game. But, Vance is doing a tremendous job, man. I think about the guys you see there. Nick Benito is he's just creating a lot of he's creating havoc up front, man. You got, obviously, the back end of our defense is really good. Again, it's like you watch them, and they're if you're just watching this defense, and we don't really have a lot of national names. They're starting to get out there. People are starting to recognize now. Sertan, obviously, is the big name. But you have a very active front. You've got really good secondary. Linebackers just feel they're very sound in what they do. They don't just give you a lot of easy anything. You're constantly working, and that's the kind of defense that they're just tough to beat. It's hard to be consistent with them. You can't put together long sustained drives. Burton, had to pick yesterday. They're just Martin. They're just doing a really good job, man, of just keeping everything in front and making you work for it, and that's what this defense does.
TD, this team Broncos sit 7th spot, playoffs. Is that the expectations? Go to the playoffs?
Why not? Why not? At this point, that's what I expect. I mean, look at the schedule right now. You got the Raiders next week, or this coming up this week. That's a win in my book. And then you play Cleveland at home. You got a bye, and then you got a pretty good stretch after that. But I said it before, Stoke. I said earlier, I said, man, where's the mandate? Why is there people make it seem like there is some law that a team can't have a turnaround as quick as this team is making it, and you have to go through this process of, well, no, they can't go to the playoffs this year because they had, because of what happened last year. No. This team, as a matter of fact, I expect them now to make the playoffs. And I think that's fair. I mean, they put themselves in that position, in my mind, the way they're playing. They've earned that respect now. At least if we don't set the bar, and I know in that locker room they don't care about what the fans are thinking or what us on radio are talking about. I believe now that they fully expect that this team to make the playoffs, and that's where their mindset should be.
TD, in your role as ambassador, what was it like to be around the border war as CSU won their 5th in a row, beating Wyoming 24-10? What was that feeling, that atmosphere, that vibe like?
Man, it was incredible. Had the largest student turnout ever. Another 4th sellout from the fans there. Man, it was cool, man. It's electric when you're down there and you got all the, you got the band, you got everything going on under the lights. I'm proud of the team, man. Doing a really good job. Coach Norvell is doing a really good job of getting them ready to play, man. Got the bronze boot back, so it will be at CSU for quite some time. It's been fun, man. We're both eligible. We got that 2 weeks ago, and now we're just trying to stack some more wins, man. We got to go to Fresno State this week, and our last game is home against Utah State. So looking forward to those games, and then hopefully putting ourselves in position to be in the Mountain West Championship game.
They're in good shape right now. TD, thank you so much. Great stuff. We appreciate it.
All right, fellas. We'll talk to y'all later.
Terrell Davis, our Hall of Famer, the Ram